Greetings and welcome in this video. Today, we are going to talk about heat transfer. But before we will go any deeper about the methods and types of heat transfer, let us first define what is heat. Heat is a form of kinetic energy which is produced from the vibration or collision of each state of matter. Okay? There are three states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. Of all the three types of matter, solid is the most and fastest one to conduct heat or transfer heat. Why? Because as you can see, the molecule orientation of solid is tightly packed or grouped together. Okay? We already know that heat is produced by the collision or vibration of these molecules. So, let us put an example, a metal rod. Okay? If you will put a metal rod, its tip into a flame, the tip of that metal rod, its molecule will begin to vibrate when it feels heat. Okay? Now you can see that its molecules are tightly packed. When a single molecule vibrates, it's very easy to collide with another molecule, making that metal rod fast to conduct heat. Liquid, on the other hand, has gap between its molecule. That is the liquid molecule orientation. How does it affect the heat transfer? Well, as we defined that heat is produced by the collision of molecule, this gap means that it requires more kinetic energy for a single molecule to vibrate and collide with another molecule. Okay? That means that liquid conducts heat or heat slower than solid because of the molecule orientation. Gas. If liquid has gap between its molecule, gas, on the other hand, has bigger gap. Okay? As you can see in the image, that bigger gap requires more kinetic energy for a single molecule to collide with another molecule to produce heat. What does that mean? It means that it will take more and more time for gas, any form of gas, to heat up. It takes more energy than solid and liquid. Now that we know the orientation of the three types of matter, remember that heat transfer flows in a linear manner. Okay? It means that heat is transferred from hotter objects to cooler objects. Okay? So, heat transfer or the transfer of heat stops when it reached equilibrium. Now that you have grasped the basic idea of what is heat, let us now go to the types of how heat is transferred.
Good day everyone, I am Jocen Egad, and today I'm going to discuss the heat transfer methods. As the first discuss, heat transfer at the heat flows from high temperature to low temperature. The heat transfer will occur in three ways: the conduction, convection, and the radiation. So take a look at this picture. What kind of heat transfer is this? Is this conduction, convection, or radiation? Yes, exactly. This picture shows an example of the conduction. Okay, so conduction, heat is transferred from one particle of matter to another in an object without the movement of the object. Conduction, it is a heat transferred between object by direct contact. Okay, so have you ever touched a metal spoon sitting in a pan of a boiling water only to be surprised by how hot it is? Think back to what you know about metals and non-metals. What conducts heat better, metal or non-metal? Yes. So, why do you think the reason why cooking pan is made of metals? Yes, you are correct because they are good conductors of heat. Conductors are materials that allow thermal energy to readily flow through them. Metals such as silver, copper, steel, and aluminum are the conductors of heat. On the other hand, materials that transfer heat poorly are called insulators. This is the reason why mostly cooking utensils have handles made of plastic, rubber, or wood. It's because they are poor conductors of the heat. So, take a look at this another example of the conduction. So, think of metal spoon in a pot of water being heated. These fast-moving particles of the fire collide with the slow-moving particles of the cool pot. Because of this collision, the slower particles move faster and heat is transferred. Then the particles of the pot collide with the particles in the water, which collide with the particles of one end of the spoon. As the particles move faster, the metal spoon gets hotter. This process of conduction is repeated all along the metal until the entire spoon is hot. So another example of the conduction are here. Okay, so the second one is the convection. So what is convection? So convection is the movement that transfer heat within fluids and gases. This heat transfer through air and liquid particles. This movement of particles are in cellular pattern. So heat transfer by convection is a process of heat transfer through the mass motion or flow of some fluid, such as air or water. So as the picture shows, when a pot of water is heated, convection currents are set up as the heated water of the bottom of the pot rises because of its reduced density, and it replaces cooler water from above. Heat transfer by convection. Although liquid and gases are generally not very good conductors of heat, they can transfer heat quite rapidly by convection. Convection is the process whereby heat is transferred by the mass movement of molecules from one place to another, whereas conduction involves molecules moving only over small distance and colliding. Convection involves the movement of molecules over a large distance. So here are some examples of the convection. Okay, so the last one is the radiation. So radiation is the transfer of energy from its origin to the surrounding. It is the transfer of energy by electromagnetic waves. Radiation does not require matter to transfer thermal energy. Radiation is more rapidly transfer of thermal energy in the form of electromagnetic radiation accomplished by a process that requires neither contact nor mass flow. A hot object also loses heat energy by radiation. This radiation is similar to light and can pass through empty space. The warmth of feel when you warm yourself by a fire is due to this radiation. If the object is hot enough, some of the radiation is visible and can indeed be seen. So the conductors and insulators. Conductors readily transfer heat energy. Gases are the poorest conductors. Solids are the best conductors. Insulators are poor conductors of heat energy. Fiberglass batting is better than air alone because it traps air. That's the conductor and the insulators. Okay, so that's all the three on how the heat being transferred. The conduction, convection, and the radiation.
Let us assess your learnings in this video. I have here picture which is labeled ABC. and each letter correspond to a type of heat transfer. Feel free to pause the video and take your time to distinguish which one of it is conduction, convection, or radiation. Okay, so A is conduction. Why? Because, as you can see, the source of heat is the flames. Okay? And the bottom of that pot is having direct contact with the flame. That flame now introduces kinetic energy to that pot, allowing that molecules to vibrate, heating up the bottom of the pot. Okay? Second one, B, is convection. Okay? That is water, and as you can see, there's a circular motion going on. What does that mean? Okay, so hotter objects or hotter molecule of the water tends to go up and the cooler one goes down. Okay? This process is continually going on, creating that circular motion, and that is convection. Okay? C is radiation. When you are near the stove, or let's just assume you are cooking, you can feel this radiation. That is the heat that you will feel, even if you are just close to the flames without direct contact. Okay, so those are the three types of heat, and we have defined heat. See you in the next video.